Hey, what's up gamers? My name is JaxBoxer and welcome back to the channel. Guess what? We are now on the last little video of Buried. I am so excited to show you the end of this series. It has been a long time coming and I'm really excited to show it to you, considering a little while ago I didn't even have this file anymore. I deleted it. I had to freak out for a bit and then I recovered it from my recycling bin. But anyway, it's back. This is the end, and I think just shut down. Oh, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you at the end.
Phew, I hope this is coming to an end because I'm so tired right now. Amy and I run as fast as we can through the rows of barrels. Barksdale comes charging out of the chamber almost immediately. As he steps onto the hangar floor, he starts shooting. Each shot sends a jolt of fear through me as I wait for a bullet to end my life. We need to get to the elevator on the far side of the room, Amy tells me. And it leads down below to the switch. Sprint to the elevator! Okay, she says, go. I take a few shots in Barksdale's direction, succeeding in getting him to take cover and pause his stream of fire. We both make a run for it, knowing we only have seconds. Somehow, I make it through the rows of barrels and get to the elevator's entrance. I turn back and allow Amy to enter first, but she isn't there. I look back to the barrels and I see she has fallen. Oh, fuck me! I see she has fallen about halfway down the row and doesn't appear to be hurt, but is paralyzed with fear, sitting motionlessly as Barksdale peppers the area with gunshot. Fuck it. Run back and give her cover. I can't afford to lose Amy. I start to step out into the open and head back to Amy, but Barksdale's gunfire pins me back into the elevator entrance with a loud bang. Apparently, he's reloaded that weapon of his. As the spark fly inches from my face, I realize I have to help her from here. And then I remember the contents of the barrel. One color has highly flammable and the other contains liquid nitrogen. I'm no scientist, but I'm pretty sure liquid nitrogen is mostly harmless unless you have direct contact. If one of those barrels is to get shot and liquid nitrogen fills out, I'm fairly positive it will simply evaporate. That could create cover of sorts for Amy, like a smoke cloud. Ah, hell. Which one of those barrels holds liquid nitrogen, Strickland told us. Oh, fuck. But I can't remember. I have to remember quickly or Barksdale is going to get careless with the shooting and we're all going to die. Okay, can I cheat? Can I cheat? Can I please cheat? And it won't let me cheat. Wait, hang on. Let me cheat. Let me cheat. It's not going to let me cheat. I forgot. I fucking forgot. Oh my god, I forgot. The yellow barrels. I'm fairly certain those had liquid nitrogen in them. Without giving myself a single moment to second guess myself, I aim at one of them and pull the triggers. And there's a pinging noise, followed by a hiss. A stream of liquid nitrogen spills out and begins to evaporate immediately. Amy looks around for a moment, clearly baffled, and then figures out what I've done. She hits the ground right away for a moment, and I lose sight of her in a cloud of mist. Behind us, Barksdale starts to fire, apparently not caring if he happens to hit one of the barrels with fuel in it. Moments later, I see Amy's shape emerge from the mist. There's a terrifying second where she's out of the mist and exposed, and in the exposed space between barrels and the protection offered by the elevator's interior. Barksdale gets off 2 shots, but the nitrogen mist has obscured his vision too much for him to get proper aim. However, one of them nicks Amy's leg, sending her tumbling just before she reaches the entryway to the elevator. I dash out, lifting her up, and we both hobble over to the elevator behind the cover of the mist. Thanks. Thank God you remembered which barrel was which, she says. I reach out to press the call button on the elevator. We both step inside and close the doors. It's a service elevator, made of wood and metal, like something from a coal mine. We step inside and the doors close. The motors on the elevator sound like dying dogs. And as the elevator slides down, the light from the flame gives way to complete blackness. Oh my god. I lose track of how long the elevator descends. It's hard to tell due to the lack of lighting. But it must go another 500 feet underground. The elevator comes to a stop with a shuddering clang, and I waste no time exiting. A tunnel stretches out with a sparse white bulbs lighting the way. Most of the wall is made up of raw earth and rock, but there are boards and concrete slathered in areas used to reinforce the tunnel. I see a warning sign posted to the wall. I want to read it, but there's not much time. Read notice on the wall. Warning, authorized personnel only beyond this point. Trespassers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Absolutely no exceptions. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Now that everyone is dead. After only a few steps, my pain in my body intensifies. How stupid was I to turn down those painkillers? I look up, and when I see that tunnel ceiling is less than 6 inches over my head, claustrophobia freezes me for a moment. The ceiling is not high at all, and there is barely enough room for Amy and I to walk side by side, which is for the best because her leg is clearly causing her a great deal of pain. She's soaked in blood and hobbling along. I don't think I can go any further, she says, wincing, but trying to keep her composure. Sit down, I tell her. I'll be back. There is no sense in chancing further injury to your leg. She nods and I help her down. She shudders in pain as she eases into a sitting position on the floor. Thanks, she says. According to Strickland, the switch should be at the end of this hall. I look up and I see that the tunnel ceiling is less than 6 inches over my head. And claustrophobia freezes me for a minute. I feel like I just read that. Still, it's much better than facing the monsters above me. And I wonder then, walking through the darkness where they came from, is the portal still open? I hold the gun in one hand and I feel my way along the wall with the other. And the wall under my palm anchors me to reality, to sanity. I am not in the boundless abyss, but still in the real world, for a little while longer at least. I recognize that I am marching to my end. As much as I wish I weren't, it's not surprising. And from the moment I saw those creatures could do to time and space, at least a part of me knew that death was inevitable. Before I have time to wonder whether my family will really miss me, I see a light ahead. It's nothing more than a speck of blue light, but in the darkness of the tunnel, it's like a lighthouse on a stormy sea. I slog forward, my eyes straining to focus on that little light ahead. And somewhere ahead, I can start to hear something that sounds like water. It is trickling lightly like a leaky faucet. And behind that, there is something that sounds like wind, a light breeze through an open field, and a voice. Anywhere else, that sound would have been pleasant, but here in the blackness of the tunnel, they're menacing. Stay quiet. It's not a good thing to make noise in dark hallways. I don't make a sound, instead trying to make a sense of what's going on around me. I cock my head, trying to concentrate, and then I realize I can see the tunnel walls now. This is odd, as I wasn't able to see them a few seconds ago. This is different from the blue light at the end of the tunnel. It's then that I see the light shimmering in the air. It looks like a foggy mirror steamed over after a shower, and it's moving, dancing in the air like some abstract firefly. It's not menacing like those creatures, so that threat is null. It's peaceful, serene. I watch as this shimmer branches out and becomes 2, then 3, then 4. They snake out in different directions, tracing tunnel walls. There are shimmers the doors to other dimensions that Strickland was talking about. Suddenly I'm surrounded by a light above me and below me, and I realize there's no avoiding it. The question is, how am I going to go through? Go feet first. Yeah. Unable to resist, I step forward into where the tunnel wall should be. When I do, those shimmering lights branch out even more before connecting in one particular circular form. They are hypnotizing, so much that I don't realize that the tunnel walls are vanishing. I feel something like wind and a brief electrical pulse pass through me as lights take me. There is a very gentle pushing sensation, and I somehow know I am being expelled. I have passed through something. Maybe the lights, maybe the tunnel walls, I don't know. The shimmering lights fade a bit, still dancing in the air, but no longer large and branching out. And as my eyes adjust, I see right away that I'm no longer standing in a dark tunnel far beneath the hangar. I have no idea where I am. I'm just somewhere else, and I'm terrified. The ground I land on looks like hot coals, and there are dips and many cliffs breaking the landscape ahead of me. There's a wash of orange and blue overheated in a sky that makes no sense. It is both beautiful and terrifying at once. A scattering of stars hang overhead, and they all seem to be breathing, pulsing with gentle energy, as if alive. I can't tell if there are clouds in the sky because everything about it, from the colours to the trembling horizon lines, seem amorphous. Everything is knitted together, living. I stare a moment longer and I swear I can feel the sky breathing. Far off to my right I see what looks to be a plume of fire, small yet bright, with no source of fuel. It looks as if the ground itself is creating the flame. Several more of these flames dot the landscape further out. The air is thick and muggy, and I realize something horrible. I don't know if what I'm breathing here resembles air at all. In a place like this, one of impossible beauty, but also very stark horror, my mind doesn't know what to do. A wave of nausea comes over me, and I think I might be sick. I'm not sure if it would be better to fight it or give in. The white light brought me here is nowhere to be found. Is anyone else even here? Is there any way to escape? Well, you're in an alien environment, and I don't mean like an alien, like alien. I mean just the fact that alien means unknown area, so you don't just want to yell out, so I'm just gonna look around. I continue to look out at the nightmarish landscape and see a few other unexplainable oddities. There are billowing flames in the distance, not like a volcano or explosions, just some sort of slow heat crawling upwards that defies reality. This analogy seems more fitting when I see the thin veil-like roots of the fire twisting into the ground and then darting back out in all directions. I get the sick feeling again in my gut, and I realize my mind just needs something to focus on. It's then that I hear a voice. It's faint, distant. I turn and hear it coming from one of the massive crevices along the ground. Inside of that crack, about 10 feet down, is a very pale man lies on an edge. He is human, but looks so close to death. He's in the center of a large pool of blood, and his left leg has been twisted and torn in an unnatural way. As I walk to the ledge, he looks up and sees me. "Help me, please," the man says. His eyes are wide, although everything about him speaks of weakness. He is close to death, or insanity, or both. "Who are you?" "I'm Dr. Karma," he strains to get out. "I work in the facility. Please help." I want to know more, but it seems cruel to steal what look like his last breaths just to answer my question. "I'd love to," I respond, "but I don't know where the hell I am or how to get back home." "The light," he says. "It's a doorway. It might take you back to the facility." Where did it go? They come and go. They'll be back. Now please help me. I desperately want to help, but there's no way I can reach him. His ledge is too far away, above pools of fire. I don't think I can get to you, I say. No, that's not what I mean, he replies. His eyes are on the handgun and I almost forget I am holding it. I realize what he wants and I shake my head. I can't, I say. I can't do that. Please, he pleads, those things. They have the others that came here with me. They got dropped along the way. They'll be back. They'll be back and they'll kill me, he says, again indicating the game. Again indicating the gun. Will be quicker, less painful. I can't, I repeat. Please. Look at my damn leg. I'm dead anyway. I am about to refuse him again when I hear an all too familiar static sound from another crevice behind him. I hear another of those shrill noises and then watch one of the monsters materialize up out of the neighboring crevice. And 2 or more of them out after it. Then a third, then 5, then 10. Soon I lose count as just a few turns into a flood. And I suddenly understand the man's reasoning. A bullet would be a mercy. I check the gun and see that I only have one round left. I can use it on this guy, or I may need it for myself later. From beside me the man pleads again. My God, he says, a waver of lunacy in his voice. Please. I know it's a mercy. Like, I know it is a really big mercy and I should give it to him. But I need that bullet. I'm so sorry, I say. I can't. What I don't tell him is that I'm in a situation where I have to keep this one bullet. I can't waste it on him. He whimpers a bit and I look away, unable to see the misery on his face. Behind me I hear him give a mix between a scream, a mix with the high-pitched noises of the army of creatures. Their volume raises as he lets out a cry after cry, and I clench my teeth as the torture continues. Then suddenly his voice is silenced, and only the sick static sound remains. And that's when I see shimmers wavering to my right, in the direction I originally came from. I look back to the monsters and see they have now noticed me, and some of them beginning to floating up the walls of the crevice. They're less than 10 feet separating us. The shimmers of white light are within arm's reach. Its movements reminded me of a fish in an aquarium. I reach out and feel myself accepted by them again, and I feel the sensation of wind and wait for the feeling of being pushed out, back into the tunnel of the facility. But it doesn't come this time. This time, I feel something else. I feel a tugging sensation that seems to want to drag me in all directions at once. And as the world grows dark, I realize that I'm somewhere else. And it is not the darkness of the tunnel. It's the darkness of a total void. Fuck me, this is almost gone for 2 hours. Oh my god. There is darkness all around me everywhere. Nothingness. I feel nothing under my feet. Nothing to my sides. I can't touch or sense anything at all. I don't even know which way is up or down. It's as though I'm all that exists. And as I remain there, I just hear silence. Not even the sound of my heartbeat. The blackness is so deep that I feel I can't distinguish between my thoughts and what is real. I hear screaming, but I can't tell if it's someone else or my mind screaming to fill its void. I'm gonna try to move. I try to kick and move my arms. It's not working. But it's not clear in what way it's not working. My limbs not moving, or are they gone numb? It's impossible to tell. My body has just become absent of all sensation. I assume this is a place Strickland referred to, the place between dimensions. This darkness could consume me if it wanted to, and I try to will myself out of it, to have those shimmering lights split me out. But it isn't happening. At this point, my mind stares into the hallucinant, or at least I think it does. Are they visions? My mind playing tricks on me? I can't tell. All I can do is watch. I see the logging site and Tony's legs still pinned under the dozer. I feel a pang of regret that I had left him there in such a state. I see myself talking to Dennis and he looks distraught, and I tell him that Tony is gone. Then the scene rearranges itself and I'm standing between Dennis and Marcus's gun. It changes again and the shape of Marcus's body appears in front of me, half devoured, a bullet through his head. In my mind, I'm sobbing as I watch Dennis get torn apart by those monsters all over again. And I stood by and watched. And I am calmed a bit as I watch myself shoot the right barrel, helping Amy to safety. And just when I feel like I can't take any more of this, I see the man in the strange world begging for death. And I watch as he's distorted and torn by those beasts. All of these things are flooding into my mind and it makes me feel like my brain is vomiting. Yet in the midst of it all, I see what's really important. The switch. In my mind's eye, I see that glowing light in the tunnel. The one far ahead. Small and distant. I focus my mind on the tunnel and the image of that flickering light. With a mental effort so strong that it's nearly physical motion, I make myself envision that little light in the tunnel as if it was right there in front of me. And with that, I feel the wind again. A light breeze that seems to come from everywhere. And then with a relief that I can only imagine feels like death, I move forward. That was so intense, but I absolutely loved how they just made it so silent there. That was so good. I'm ejected from the void and I'm suddenly standing in the tunnel again. And I let out a wail of triumph that turns into a bout of weeping. The weeping only intensifies when I see that light up ahead, flickering blue light. Somewhere behind me I hear a crackling noise. I think of Amy down that way by the elevator. Have they reached her? There is no way I can find out. For now, I have to keep on with my plan. Besides, if it works, we're all gone anyway. I feel like I can listen to get a better read on where they are. Or can I just make a break for it? Fuck it, run towards the blue light. I don't even bother looking back. There's no time. Instead, I run with all my might straight ahead, my focus on that little blue light ahead of me. As I run, I see a different light, a white one, flicker in my peripheral vision. It's another one of those shimmers that go into other worlds, and it seems they're appearing and disappearing more frequently now. Strickland was right. These things could reach the surface soon, unleashing more monsters. This thought makes me refocus on that blue light, the man-made light, the switch. The blue light gets closer and closer, and as it does, I make out a square shape around it. This has to be it. The familiar static scream of the monsters is much closer now, and I have to be quick. I grip the gun tightly, knowing I only have one bullet remaining. The bullet that the man in the other world had wanted me to use to end his life. I run ahead into the darkness, my eyes locked on the switch that I assume is going to kill not only those creatures, but myself as well. As I approach, I see the lever. It's covered by a glass box that I will need to break. The blue light is directly beneath it, highlighting a series of tubes and wires that snake into the inner workings of the device. In the middle is blackness, not like a darkly coloured part of the machine, but just a hole in reality. It looks like some sort of illusion. All the while, I can hear the static of creatures coming up dangerously close now, and I have no idea how much time I have. Break the glass. I draw back the stock of the gun and smash through the glass that houses the lever. The glass shattering is like music to my ears, and I reach out for the levers, my hand grasping it. Without warning, I feel an immense pain course through my body, and it feels like fire reaching down my back, causing me to fall to one knee in agony. There's only one of them that I can see. It blasts horrible static noise at me as I ready my gun. One bullet left. I'm glad I didn't put that poor man in that other place out of his misery. I take aim and fire. My accuracy is rewarded with a spew of white gas in the creature's core. It backs away, in defense or annoyance, I'm not sure. I start to turn back to the switch when I hear a second creature come gliding up behind me. Its tentacles melt into me and I scream. I can't help it. I sound like a wild animal. And I can try to keep fending them off, or I can go for broke and just focus on the lever. The creatures be damned. Focus on the fucking lever. I put all my strength into my legs, and the moment the monster in front of me draws back its eel-like arms to grab me, I pivot backwards. My back strikes the machine, sending agony rocketing through my body. I'm so thankful I broke the glass before this moment, before coming violence. I stretched out and grabbed the lever. With one last desperate scream that sheds my voice, I jam it down. The tunnel is suddenly filled with a flash of immense darkness, and it expands from the switch, swallowing the matter around it. At first, I'm sure it's the end of me. I expect the darkness to consume me, followed by death. But then another shimmer of dancing white light appears next to me. There are more of those streams of light, rifts in space like the ones that were previously sent me to an other ungodly world and the void. With nothing else to do but die, I try to escape into the shimmer. When that stream of light envelopes me, the expanding darkness of the switch is gone, and I feel a huge push. It's kind of pretty. My body feels stretched, collapsing, like I'm falling in all directions at once. The world goes white, and there are those pinpoints of stars everywhere. One of them breezes directly to my right, and I see something that looks like a spiral galaxy distorted in its folds. To my right, I see an endless stretch of stars and gas clouds forming some galactic architecture. But beyond the immeasurable beauty, I notice something. I am seeing the same star patterns over and over. They are repeating like reflections in an endless mirror. Are these different versions of the same galaxies, the same realities? To my left, I see a calm blue world. I can barely make out trees. Familiar. Kentucky trees I would have been around for the last few weeks. And to my right, I see a copy, an orange world. And there are trees there as well, but something is strange, disturbing. And as I zoom by, I'm not sure how much control I have in this unusual place. But I can direct myself, and it's worth trying. I think that I'm going to go to the blue world, because it sounds nice. And after this hell, what I want is something that sounds nice. I try to focus my mind on heading towards the blue world, not knowing what to expect. My breath escapes me for a moment. Everything is dark and peaceful, and nothing hurts. I'm not sure if I'm actually coming up to end this. I could have sworn it had 5 chapters, but I'm not sure. With breath back inside my body, I gasp and open my eyes. I'm back at the logging site. How? I'm not sure. Did the shimmers react with the implosion of the switch? Some other accident? I have no idea. And I sit up right away and become instantly dizzy. Amy, I say. There's no reason to think that she survived whatever happened in the tunnel, but there's some sort of certainty that gets me to my feet. I wonder if I'm somehow back in time before we found the facility. But what happens next makes me realize that can't be true. As I start walking forward, I feel a tremor in the ground. Somewhere off in the distance, I hear metallic groaning. The buried facility. It's being ripped apart under the ground by the activation of the switch. Trees are splintering and falling to the east, and I can see them toppling just like dominoes. There's no way Barksdale survived. Good riddance. As I start to walk my way into the opposite direction of the falling trees. But then I hear a scream, a woman's scream. I turn back and see a stumbling figure out of the forest. It's Amy. She looks like a ghost. How is she here? Did she fall into one of those shimmers as well? I decided I don't care and I run towards her. I throw my arm under her armpit and hook her to me as we head back to the logging site. You okay? I ask. Amy can only nod through tears. I look to the area where the facility tore the woods apart and the large plume of smoke rising into the air. We've made it out of the facility alive, and that, I suppose, is the most important thing. It's then that I look up and I notice the sky. The sky is beautiful and familiar, unobstructed by the trees that had been standing several minutes ago. I exhale and let my body start to relax. It's finally over, and I'm not sure how long it will take me to get back to some semblance of life. But I know one thing for sure. Any day above ground is going to be a good day. And that is the end. Oh my god. Wow. Tough it out. You and 64% of players didn't take the painkillers. Who survives? You and 62% of players shot the right barrel, keeping Amy alive. Mercy, you and 70% of players did not kill the man who asked for death. Going home. You and 83% of players headed towards the blue world and went home. Wow. I'm just going to have a second to sort of compose a little bit in my head. That was really tough. A lot of stuff happened in that previous episode that I didn't expect to happen. And I feel like I made a lot of hard decisions that affected me. Like as you saw, I was really frustrated with myself when I killed Dennis, and I really panicked when I thought I had also killed Amy. But then I was absolutely so relieved to see Amy was still alive. And that is the best outcome that I could have expected. So I've walked through this game and I've made some terrible decisions. But I also feel like I've made good decisions, which have more or less stuck to Roger's morals. And that's all I can say. In terms of like feedback for this game or this interactive story is, it's absolutely amazing. It had me questioning myself. It had me questioning my own morals. It had me constantly intrigued by the storyline. It had me immersed in its audio, in its visuals and everything. It had like an amazing environment and atmosphere. And that was really well executed by the designers of this game and the programmers. And it has been such a pleasure playing this game. And if I can find other games that are like this, I will play them. Because I absolutely loved this to pieces. At this moment, this has been my favorite series on the channel, and I hope it stays like that for ages. I really encourage you guys to play this game for yourself, because there is a lot of decisions in here that you guys may have done differently, or you may get cranky at me for taking, and there's a lot of decisions that I would have remade myself if I could, but I just wanted to go through this game taking every single hit that I had. But no, I really, really, really enjoyed this. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, hit subscribe, and even turn on notifications. And I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, goodbye.